I have a quick thing for Carol and Charlie. Did you get my email? And are you going to say yes?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
The answer is yes. I got the email, and yes, I'll be coming. Um,
Okay.
you originally were talking about a joint birthday for two different people.
No, well, they're going to be 2 different days.
All right. Okay.
So I haven't sent the other one out, and that's next Saturday for
Right, so
Steve.
when did you send out this email?
This morning, but I sent one out last week too.
So you sent something out last week that just said when something was happening. You didn't ask for a response to it.
Okay, basically, Dorinda said something out, and she said nobody replied to her, so I said I would send something
She
out.
did not send anything to me.
Okay, that's why I said I would do it.
She put it on Facebook.
Yeah, well, sending it on Facebook is not sending a message.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I told her, but she thought everybody would see it, and I said I don't think so.
Nope.
So anyway, she
No.
just wants to know if you're going to come.
Yes.
That would most likely be a yes.
Okay, I'll let her know. All right. All right, when do you want to start, Steve? Do you think we're all set up enough that we can go in maybe at about 2 minutes?
I think we can.
All right,
I
you got YouTube and everything set up?
need to see with my other headphones how the YouTube is working.
Oh boy.
That looks like it's working. Can wear both headsets at once.
One for each ear.
Alrighty.
All right. So, welcome everyone to our September 10th CIDER meeting. Glad to see everybody who's here and hope we get some more as we go along. So, Steve, what do you want to start with? Since there's all this new Apple news, right?
Yeah,
Mostly about the iPhone.
I didn't get a chance to watch the keynote yet, so we'll wing it.
Okay, so what do you want to start with?
Somebody scheduled me an appointment right in the middle of the keynote.
Well, I guess you better yell at her.
Yeah, so I got through the opening how great Apple is, and then now let's turn to iPhone, and the appointment showed up.
All right, so go ahead and start with whatever you want to start with.
Okay.
News, Q&A, whatever.
I'm going to interrupt for a moment
Sure.
here. Steve, my usual request, can you boost your volume on YouTube?
I will try here. Higher, 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 higher. All right. No, now I'm getting into the reds. All right, let me get to the other button. I gotta raise the system volume so OBS volume sees it. Sound. Headset. And test, test, test. All right, now I'm getting yellow. That looks like it's working.
I have to wait a minute because of the delay.
Yeah, I think it's like 2 minutes now. Doesn't matter.
Really?
Mine says 7-Eleven, and no, my computer says 7-Eleven, and YouTube says 7-Eleven, so less than a minute.
Okay, I finally did hear you. You were You, you were better, but not great. That's all I can say.
All right, let me
Okay.
turn it up some more. All right, we'll try that. And this is output 1. Alrighty, let's do share screen. And we will do CIDER meeting. Here we go, newsroom. That's where I wanted to start. Alright, so how many people have an Apple Watch that has the blood oxygen sensor in it? Because Apple has worked around the patent that made them remove the blood oxygen sensor functionality from the watch. So if you, I believe it was an update to the OS. Yeah, if you update your iOS and your phone OS, it should re-enable the blood oxygen sensor. Apparently, what Apple did is move the processing of the data to the phone rather than on the watch. And that was apparently enough to get around the patent so far. Until the so if you might remember that Apple had to remove the blood oxygen feature because of a patent dispute. So we'll see if the original patent owners dispute the workaround.
Well, it does work.
Oh, good.
I'm gonna go get mine.
Yeah.
Last time I tried mine,
Yeah, you get this nice funny display on your watch while it's doing it. Then you have to go to the phone to read the whatever the results are.
Yep. Let's see. Apple. Yeah, we passed another quarter. Let's see, are we quarter 3? Yeah, we're in quarter 4 now. No, yeah, this is July. So because we had Nick here, we didn't do the August one. All right, and that is delayed on the other screen, which is really annoying. I keep looking at the wrong screen. So let's leave that screen. Apple iPhone revenue is less than half the Mac. It usually hovers right around half. And iPad and iMac are in the 7 to 9%. Services is 30% and growing. That tends to be where the big growth is in services. And then wearables, home, and AirPods, or audio, are the last group. So first quarter is the holiday quarter, so that's why there's usually a spike in the first quarter. So as we move into that holiday quarter, revenue is up 15%, so the last few quarters have been a lot better. iPad revenue is a little flat, so there's a lot of expectations about an M5 iPad Pro coming this fall. So iPad revenues, product revenue versus services revenue. Services is kind of on a nice straight climb, where product revenues goes up and down. Sales revenue is up again. So basically everything is best quarter ever. Again, the iPhone is most of their profit. And the U.S. is also most of their profit. Although China tends to jump up and down depending on what Xiaomi is and Huawei are doing that quarter. So that's the end of it. It's almost a good APPL is the stock price. Yeah, so stock is down a little bit today. But I remember buying it at 104 a few months ago. So Apple stock tends to be a good long-term investment. You know, continual growth. All right, there was another interesting newsroom story for videographers. Where is it? Yeah, if you're going to Corgan Park anytime in Pune. So I don't know Corgan Park, and I don't know Pune. Anyone know what country and or state that's in? Pune, India. Okay. So a giant Apple store in India. If you can survive the heat there. Final Cut camera. That's an interesting thing that they've added, especially for the new iPhone, where you can basically record on your camera to feed into Final Cut on your computer. So you can use your phone as like a remote camera for Final Cut, and that's a pretty neat option. A lot more and more movies, even theatrical movies, but a lot of what are typically considered indie movies are now being shot on an iPhone, where you don't need ridiculously expensive cameras in order to do your video work. And it's free because you're already paid for Final Cut itself. Yeah, if you bought Final Cut Pro like 10 years ago for $299, you can get you've gotten free upgrades for the last 10 or 15 years to add more and more and more features. The way the Apple Store works, Apple it keeps pushing updates, and everyone gets free updates. All right. Anyone else have any news type stuff that doesn't relate to the product announcements? That's basically overwhelming the feeds these days.
Steve,
Yep.
this isn't Apple news, but I'm going to put a link in the chat about a Malwarebytes article that I found scary as usual, and then later on, maybe in Q&A, you can talk about it. It's about AI browsers and prompt injection.
Yeah.
You know, that's all about. You don't have to spend time on it.
That's the link I sent to Chris.
Yep, I got it.
Let me find the link from Charlie.
I haven't put it in yet.
Okay.
And you may want to. You don't have to do it right away. You're doing Apple News now, but maybe later. I'll let you know when I put it in.
There were several very important updates that came out in the last couple of weeks. There were security releases. So the end of August, they basically updated everything for some pretty severe bugs and exploits that were found. What's interesting is they don't always tell you what the bug does, but they're starting to give a lot more credit about who found it. So processing a malicious image file may result in memory corruption. Now, it's an out-of-bounds issue. So the biggest vulnerability are out-of-bounds issues in programming. And there's been a big push lately for what's called memory-safe languages, like Rust and Python, where the problem is with most programming languages, you define a variable, and that variable takes up memory. If you release the variable, the memory may stay there. Or if you say the variable is 32 bits, then someone could try to write more data than that and leak into the next bit of memory. And so programming languages like C and C++, which are most common these days, are getting usurped by a lot of the other memory-safe languages that are trying to make things easier and safer for people to write programs. So that's a lot of times when you see these updates, it's all for an out-of-bounds condition or a memory overflow or buffer overflows used after free. You told the computer the program you were free with that bit of memory, but it didn't erase it. It left whatever was already in there. So if the last thing that was in that bit of memory was like a password, that's still in there for other programs to try to grab. Anyone else have any news type stuff? Jump into Charlie. Do you remember what the title was, Charlie?
No, and I've got a problem here because I am computer inept. And earlier, in preparation for this, I went into the article in my email and opened the article and crap. And copied the link for it. But there we go. I'm getting closer here. Here we go again. Let's go here. And all right, now I'm going to copy the link. And the problem was that when I used what I thought would be the link, instead of coming up to the whole complicated link thing, it just came up to malwarebytes.com. So that wasn't helpful. I'm going to try it again here. Right now. All right, let's see what happens here. Push that button. Huh. Well, all right. Let's see, where the hell was I? Now I go here, and I go here. I do it again. Hey, this might work. You can take a look at the chat at this point and see if it makes any sense.
Yeah,
I had I am dragging my feet on playing with AI stuff, and as usual, I'm more concerned about security stuff, and I'm interested in ways to know whether what I am looking at is AI generated or not, and oh boy, oh anyway,
yeah. So there's something called an injection attack that generally happens if you're on a malicious website or you're on a website with malicious ads. Where's that buzzing in the background coming from?
why don't I shut my mic off and you tell me if if I'm generating it?
All right. Nope. It says it's Shirley. Must be the dryer.
No, I'll turn my sound off.
Yep. Mute yourself. Okay. So injection attacks, where you think you're logging in to, say, PayPal, and a malicious ad has put a fake login window on top of the real login window and grabs your login. So
may I interrupt you just a moment here?
Yep.
With my general rule of thumb, for example, when I'm Googling stuff is at the top of the results, there'll be sponsored stuff. And I try to skip that and go down until I find the same thing, only not a sponsored ad,
Right.
because the sponsored ones can be malware. So does this then mean that if I do that and I go to a genuine corporate website, let's say, these attacks are then able to put in this fake AI thing on top of that?
It would come from an ad on that website, or
Do you have
if that website has been compromised and the bad guys have access to the actual corporate website.
Okay, and would you have to click on the ad for that to happen or
No,
not?
just displaying it would cause it to activate.
Lovely.
So a lot of people try putting ad blockers on, but most websites won't run if you have an ad blocker on, because that's how they make their money, is by showing ads. So as AI prompts, and we're starting to see browsers now with built-in AI. So the prompt is what you type into, say, Google to search for something. If there's a malicious link on that page or malicious ad on that page, it can intercept what you're typing and inject its own things. And one of the things, there's no pictures here. One of the things that can sometimes happen is, say you're trying to buy something, and so you expect a PayPal link to pop up, but instead the malicious PayPal link pops up, and then you think you're typing into the real PayPal and you're getting the fake one. And it can be very hard to tell if there's a fake ad on top of your real ad. You can sometimes tell by the URL, but we've seen some of the sneakier ones will just hide the URL window, so you don't even see a URL at all. Actually, Tim Berners-Lee said that it was never his intent that you saw all this gobbledygook. That's as the pointing to where that website is. Then the user doesn't need to see any of that. But it's becoming an issue where sometimes we do need to see it to make sure it's real. So it's just like a lot of issues we're seeing. People have slowed down using a search engine like Google, and they're using a chat bot like Gemini or ChatGPT. As more and more AI things try to interpret our usage, it's adding another layer between us and the bad guys, and giving the bad guys another foot up. So it kind of makes it even harder to be sure you're on the right page. And we often say on sound bites, if you have to stop and think if what you're doing is okay, then don't do it. But most of the time you don't even think about it because you're expecting to be doing something like that. So what they're saying is that the prompt attack means they don't have to break into the server. They can inject the prompt into your browser, usually by running a JavaScript in an ad on a website. And so people have tried turning JavaScript off, but then websites don't work because so many websites require JavaScript. So it's basically one of those, you're screwed if you try it and you're screwed if you don't.
Is there a way for me to tell, let's say I'm using Google browser, Chrome, and I'm doing a Google search. Is there a way to tell whether AI is, so to speak, turned on or turned off in the way I'm using the browser?
Yes. If you've clicked on the AI mode, that always turns AI on. But anytime you do a Google search, let's do, say, Red Wings. We went to the game last night. Actually, yeah, in that case it didn't. So let me try another Google search. Watch Apple TV. So here, we're getting the Gemini logo, and it tells you it's an AI overview.
All right.
Or I just thought that was Al, you know. So that becomes the first tier is your AI tier, and then the second tier are your sponsored results, and then the third tier are your actual results.
And if I go into one of the quote actual ones, can I tell whether Chrome is using AI or not?
Not really, but currently it only uses AI during searching.
This whole thing sounds to me like the old quandary between convenience and security.
Yeah.
And maybe if for example, if I'm trying to buy something online and I go to some company's website, should I be suspicious if it essentially offers to do the whole process for me rather than having me fill stuff in? What do you think?
Basically, yeah. And that kind of comes back to what your definition of AI becomes. So when you go to fill out a form online, the browser will autofill information you've told it to use, like your name and address and phone number. We should just call that browser autofill, but now some people call that AI because the browser learned what your information was and it can regurgitate it back when someone asks for it. In fact, that was an early exploit where a malicious page could ask for an email address, but off the page where you couldn't see it on your screen, and your autofill would fill in everything it could. So it wants your name and address, but then 30 inches off to the right, it puts in your email address without you realizing it. And then when we started adding credit card numbers into the browsers, there was a similar exploit where the credit card number could be filled in automatically. So the browsers had to back off how much they fill in. So you have to proactively say, fill in my credit card.
Right.
It doesn't do an autofill.
Yeah, for that reason, I don't let any browser do autofills for me.
Yeah, usually you're
I
safe
was wondering
with your
about
name.
that.
Yeah, with your name and maybe your address, you're usually safe. But I use so many different browsers on so many different devices that it's not always me using that browser. So different people show up differently sometimes.
Okay, so the way that this thing works then is people buy an ad that looks like the AI prompt, and then people think that that's the AI and they click on it and then they start putting in information that they shouldn't.
Right. So the AI is injecting things around your prompt that you didn't mean to.
Mm-hmm.
So you log into, say healthcare, and you might ask the AI, what are my chances of having a heart attack? And so it looks at your health data to do that. And if it's a malicious prompt, then the bad guys can get your health data, or whatever data you can think of.
Which will ultimately make the heart attack a certainty.
Yeah.
The thing I'm wondering is if I'm on Chrome and I go into settings, can I find an autofill setting in there? And if I do, can I specify what data it can autofill and what data it cannot?
Yes.
Okay.
But I don't know how granular it is.
Right.
Chrome profile payments and addresses. So you can fill in payment methods, you can fill in addresses. So you can choose to delete stuff you didn't need it to save. We do not Google account, Google profile. So this is the profile button at the very top of the window.
Okay.
Not the account button a little farther down, which I don't think you can see. Yeah, so the Apple Cider logo you're seeing on screen is the account logo. It's not showing the URL bar on the stream. But if I pull that down, does it show it? And the first command is passwords and autofill. So if I go to autofill, share this tab instead. So now I can choose what payment methods and what addresses, and if I want autofill with AI to work. And Safari has similar options in settings. What does my autofill with AI do? Nothing I've saved there because it's currently turned off. I don't know if that was proactive on me or if it's disabled by default. And so I don't use Chrome too much on this computer, so that it doesn't have much data saved. But that's where you would see it in the Chrome browser. And then in Safari, see if I can bring that window up. Settings, autofill, and change the present something else. I want to do a window autofill.
So now you're in Safari settings.
Yep, Safari under settings, under autofill. And you can choose what things you want to fill in. And then you can edit that to see what is actually there. Contacts actually spawn to the contacts apps. Passwords is probably going to spawn the password app. What does other do? Other brings up a window of other websites I've been to. So you can turn all that off if you don't want it to ever autofill anything.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, let's switch back over here and stop sharing. Alrighty, anyone else have any new stuff, or we've sort of morphed into questions anyway?
I was wondering if you recommend, Andy, you see all these advertisements for cleanup apps.
No.
You know, up this or clean up that, and it sounds suspect to me.
Yeah, none of them really do anything that the system doesn't do by itself already. And they make you pay for it as a privilege. There are maintenance programs that run automatically from the Unix level. There's a once a day, once a week, and once a month maintenance script. One of the few that I do recommend let me get to it, is Titanium software. It's not really I wouldn't call it a cleaning program per se, but what it does is it can verify the file structure, which disk utility can. So what? There's a lot of utilities already built into the computer that do this, but Onyx will do it all in one program. And they don't have a screenshot. One of the things that I like about it is it will run. All right, let me look for a screenshot. It will run the scripts for you automatically instead of needing to here we go. That's what I want. Manually waiting to for those times to occur. So if you're having trouble with applications not launching, you can rebuild your launch index, your launch services database. If you're having trouble with Spotlight searching for something, you can rebuild your Spotlight index. Cleaning your system cache. So all of these caches are done automatically by Unix, but it can be a troubleshooting step in order to try to fix an issue. A disk utility will verify the structure of your file system, but it's kind of nice that Onyx does it all in one place, and it's completely free. So most of it just launches the Unix programs underneath the graphical interface that you could do yourself if you wanted to learn the command line.
Does Onyx collect any data from you? I mean, there's got to be some upside for them here.
Let's see. They may sell other apps, and they have a donate button where they can donate. You can donate money to them. Mostly, I think it's just a guy that wrote a program he needed and started giving it away to the public.
So this is just for like an iMac, not an iPhone. Is there something
Yeah,
like for
no.
iPhone?
Nothing is ever needed for an iPhone or an iPad. Those are all just a waste of money.
Thank you.
And we had a customer a couple of days ago that somehow installed like 7 or 8 different cleaning programs with weekly subscriptions that were costing her $800 a year. Because you often don't notice what the subscription is. And one of the sneaky ones is, say $7.99. Oh, that's not too bad. But you don't see that it says per week instead of per month or per year. Yeah, the phone doesn't have that kind of cruft accumulate because the only programs you can run are those that come from the App Store. In the settings, there is a way to clear the browser cache. If you're having trouble opening a website, you can clear your browser cache. I'm trying to see if there's anything on their Onyx's website about software license. Suitable. I hate trying to read all caps, and I can't read it because the meet window's in the way. But I've never run into any problems or heard any issues about titanium. So it's titanium-software.fr. And the big trick is there's a different version for every OS you have. So if you upgrade OSs, you want to make sure you get the next version. And then let me see, iPhone, clear cache. Yeah, so you go to settings, and then down to Safari, and clear history and website data. Chrome and Firefox probably have something similar. Alrighty, another question?
I have sort of a question about battery life on my new iPad. I seem to have a couple of times drained the battery overnight because I believe YouTube kept running. And Rick suggested maybe it was because ads were running on it. Because I don't have it automatically keep loading new YouTubes. So we're thinking that maybe it's ads keep running even when I'm not looking at it. Is there any way to keep that from happening?
Quit the app instead of just moving it to the background. It should, well, apps in the background are usually paused but YouTube has an option for picture-in-picture. So it will keep running when you bring another program to the front.
Oh, okay.
And if you go into settings and then battery, here it is, it will tell you what apps were using the most battery in the last
Yeah.
day or the last 10 days.
Yeah,
So you
it
can
was
see which one it
YouTube.
was.
It was YouTube in that one case.
Yep.
So I just have to make really sure that it's off. So suppose I just like fall asleep, because sometimes I'll be watching something until I fall asleep. There's no way to make it like time out.
YouTube itself will time out and ask if you're still watching. Unless you have it in full screen mode, and I think then it just keeps playing.
No, I don't usually have it in full screen. It's a mystery.
I'm not sure I've watched YouTube, but I know I have a timer that'll shut off the iPad.
Yeah, in the clock program, there's a timer, both the iPhone and iPad, that when the timer finishes, it stops playing. When the timer continues, I use that to listen to music before I go to sleep, and then it turns itself off
Oh, okay, that would be something then. So it's in
in
What's
the
it in?
clock app.
the clock app.
I know when I listen to Sirius XM, there's something, and I can turn off, set it to go off in an hour or 2 hours.
Yep.
That would do it. Yeah.
Clock. Let's see if we can get a picture of it. At the bottom of the clock app, there are buttons: world clock, alarms, stopwatch, and timers. And you want to go to timers. Let's see, this is probably the closest picture. It shows your world clock. And then you have alarms and stopwatch and timer. And so you can set a timer.
When timer ends.
Steve, should we be seeing this picture?
Yeah, I'm not seeing it on your screen.
It spawned a new tab instead of using the tab I was already using. Okay. Well, you can do the same thing with screen time, and then it turns everything off. So iPad, clock, timer, stop playing, and image.
Hi.
Playing, yeah, Planing. There we go. Close enough. So when your timer ends, yeah, when the timer ends, just spawned a new tab again. And there's supposed to be a picture here. You can have it play a song. There it is. Not a song. It can play a sound, like a normal timer goes off. Or you can pick an option to, if you scroll down to the bottom of the list, it will stay stop playing.
Oh, stop playing. There it is. I never noticed that. Okay.
So then instead of remembering to stop the YouTube or the music, you have to remember to start the timer.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's always something, right?
Yep.
Okay, that would work, because then I could just like set it for an hour, and then
Yep.
the worst that would happen is we'll be on for an hour. Okay.
I know people that listen to podcasts that way until they go to sleep. But my question is always, then how do they know where they left off to pick up again when they wake up?
You just start it all over
Start
again.
it all over again, yeah.
Every night. Okay, thank you.
Let's see, using.
So that could be sleep learning too.
Yeah. Play something educational.
Well, you bring to my mind that on YouTube I see videos that are long, like a few hours long or something like that, and it's things like history to put you to sleep.
Or
Yeah.
maybe I could learn a language in my sleep.
I'm thinking that, if it's history worth paying attention to, why do I want to go to sleep and not know it? I don't know. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you learn through osmosis. It keeps playing while you're asleep, and you hear it, and it incorporates in your brain
Right.
somewhere.
Yeah, right.
So here's somebody asking the question, is there an answer? Adaptive battery preferences? This is on a Samsung Galaxy. Yeah. Stop it yourself when you're ready. Yeah, the higher resolution you're viewing at, the more power it drains.
So even if you're not actually looking, I mean, even if the screen goes dark, it's still using that high resolution as if
Yeah,
it
as
was
long as it's
playing.
playing, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can say pause when in background. Background. People complaining that it's pausing when it shouldn't. We want it to pause when it should.
There is another possibility, which is to use the device plugged into power.
Yeah. I usually have to charge both my iPad and my iPhone at night. I
Well,
always
it's
worry I'm going to roll over and wrap the cord around my neck, though.
Oh, boy.
okay.
And you're sure that Shirley won't help you with that?
Yeah,
Only if,
make sure it's good and tight.
only if he snores too much.
So there is an "Are you still watching?" option in YouTube that you can turn off, and then it won't pause. So that's how to stop it from pausing.
Yeah, I've
So-
never run into that one,
So
so
make sure that's turned on. Maybe that's the
Yeah.
problem. It's already turned
let's
off.
see.
So there's optimized battery. Where did it say, are you still, here we go, are you still watching? Doesn't give you an option to do that. So you have to load a plugin in your browser. So that's interesting. So YouTube should always give you the "Are you still watching?" It's always there. You can use a plugin to stop it.
Wonder how long it goes, because I've never had it ask me that.
Well, now that's on your PC. That makes me think, because I see that on my computer, but I don't remember ever seeing it on the iPad. Maybe it's different in the iPad app versus the website. Yeah, they're all how do I make YouTube keep running, not how do I pause it.
Yeah.
Carol also had a question about resolutions when using optical zoom versus digital zoom, and what's the difference and that type of thing.
Yeah, in 1,000 words or less. What is it? No, just kidding.
So optical zoom basically means you have optics. You have an actual lens that's a zoom lens. And the longer the distance between your main lens and your zoom lens, the more it can zoom. So on the iPhone Pro that has 3 cameras, you probably see 3 zoom levels, one for each camera lens, because there's a wide camera, the normal camera, and the telephoto camera. And so on the telephoto camera, you can get a 5 or 8x optical zoom, and then a digital zoom is just like moving closer to the screen. Let's bring this up. So you take the image. So here's a giant image that was taken. A digital zoom just zooms in on a little tiny bit of it. Nope, here, share this tab instead, right? Okay. The digital zoom just zooms in on a little tiny bit of it. The higher the quality, and the more megapixels of the original image, the more you can zoom in without getting pixelated like this. So if you have an optical zoom, it can zoom in very sharp because it's using actual optics. And with the digital zoom, it's basically taking that giant picture and getting closer and closer and closer to it. Or making the picture bigger and bigger and bigger, which loses quality. And then a lot of the phones will do both. So your phone has a 5x optical zoom, and then a 3x digital zoom. So it'll do 5 times 3 is 15x zoom.
So, and then what's the, like if you say you have a 15 megapixel or whatever, a 48 megapixel, how much can your eye see? Like,
Let's see.
I think she's wondering how Retina compares to the higher resolutions of 488 megapixel or
So
whatever.
your eye can see about 576 megapixels.
oh,
So the higher the megapixel, the better the quality is. And Apple went to Retina quality displays at about 215 pixels per inch, which if you do by square inch, it's 215 square, which means the dots on the screen are too small for you to see them as dots. So that's why they call it Retina resolution, because it's higher resolution than your Retina can see. But the more megapixels you have, the more detail
yeah, you can zoom in.
the picture is, and the more you can zoom in on it. Yes.
Yeah.
So there are some ultra zoom cameras. My physical camera has a 16x zoom on it, and then it has so it's 120 millimeter. Then it has whatever, I forget what it divides out to, but so 200 times. So I can go to 2400 millimeter digital zoom. But you notice that most of these ultra zoom cameras are pretty expensive. This one's not bad, a 52x zoom, but it only does 1080p video recording. Let's see, what was mine? It's Z80, I think. Oh, it's right here, I should look. But because I go to air shows and rocket shows and things are often far away, I've got a camera. I'll show up to the picture. I've got a camera with a very long lens already, so it's a 20 millimeter lens, and I can go. I can go to 1200. That way it looks a little bit. With the optical zoom, and then I can do a digital on top of that to get really close to some things when I need to. And this camera can do 4K. It's a Father's Day gift from Matthew.
Yes.
FZ80. It was one of those where I started watching it when it was $1,000, and it ended up at like $200.
So, like, if you're just taking a picture in a room, like if you're not doing any long distance stuff, you don't really need as many megapixels, right? Because
Not
you'll be able to see the difference.
not directly, but the other thing the sensor can do is pick up more more detail in the highlights and the shadows. So you get a better picture, especially in lower light. Two step there. Camera construction. Yeah, so here's kind of how the stop spawning a new window. So the light comes in, you've got the lens to focus the light, you've got the sensor, and the more you have, the better the quality you get. And there's a picture of Apple's phone somewhere. Yeah, here's one.
Oh my goodness.
Find the picture they show here. So here's all the elements of the Apple lens. And this is the iPhone 7. So the newer phones have even more elements and better sensors. So
It's all about the sensors, right?
Yeah.
How many sensors you can get.
Yep, and
Mhm.
combining better sensors with better glass gives you better images, especially in low light. Or the cameras are doing high dynamic range now, pretty much automatically. So if, especially in an outdoor sunny environment where someone is standing in the shade under a tree, you can either take the picture to get the person standing in the shadow or to get the tree illuminated by sunlight. You usually can't get both. So what the phone does is it takes a high dynamic range image of the sunlight in the tree and then a low dynamic range image of the person under the shadow and mixes it together into one photo. So the irony is we haven't been taking real photos in decades.
Yeah.
Every photo you take is manipulated in some way. So some of the higher end cameras will have RAW mode on them. In fact, some of the iPhone Pros have RAW mode now too, where you can take the raw data that the sensor recorded, bring it into like Photoshop and do all the editing on it yourself.
Now the space telescopes, they have even higher resolutions in the gigabytes, don't they?
It doesn't work the same way. Camera resolution. With the space telescopes, it's more on the size of the mirror can gather more light. So you can do 0.07 arc seconds. I don't know if they ever give a megapixel count because it works differently.
Yeah, but if you look at the sensor itself, it'll tell you how many gigabytes worth of pixels it has.
Mm-hmm. So with especially James Webb, with the multiple cameras, there's 40 megapixels across 10 sensors. So equivalent to about 123 megapixels. So when they converge all of those images together, you can get some massive pictures. And there is the gigapixel consortium? No, I forget what they call themselves. High resolution, yeah, gigapixel high resolution photography. This guy's got some pretty cool stuff. Let's see, share this, yeah. So putting a camera on top of a tower and being able to zoom in 400 gigapixels in Prague. Oh, I can't see it. on the web, because 400 gigapixels is too much to see on the web when I'm only using 72 megapixel or 72 pixel per inch on the screen. So as more and more cameras are put together, more and more sensors are put together, you can get multiple gigapixels to be either do some super zoom in or super wide format. Yeah, the Pan-STARRS is one of the survey telescopes on one of the observatories. So each picture it takes is 1.6 petabytes. That can't be right, can it?
I've often wondered about the time delay between connecting two different components of the phased array system. I know it's speed of light and that's tiny, but we're also dealing with very tiny distances way out in space.
Yeah.
And wouldn't that the time delay of connecting the phased array components on Earth, wouldn't that be a distortion?
They make allowances for that. I saw a video, I think it was from Neil Tyson, on how they did that. So even GPS has to make speed of light propagation delay differences, because communication satellites are 20,000 miles away. That's a noticeable fraction of the speed of light.
Right. Interesting. So they would have to have kind of a buffer. It'd be kind of a buffer that they would use to create the delay of one so that the other catches up.
Possibly something like that. Or, well, one of the things, let me go back to the deep field picture. They just, with the deep field image, they just let the light collect for however long they wanted it to. And it didn't matter that some of the objects are farther away than some of the other objects. So with the web, there's 18 mirrors in the telescope that all focus on a single point. In fact, if you see some of the first light of James Webb, so first light is the first image a telescope takes when you first turn it on. No, that's not it. And it showed 18 separate images, but the same image duplicated 18 times until they focused all of the mirror segments in precisely enough position. But you have to be an astronomer to recognize that there's duplication among these pictures.
Yeah.
There have to be such tiny tolerance to,
Yep.
Visually just overlap the tiny dots.
Yep.
Which I suppose they do electronically.
Yeah, and they knew they were going to have to do it, and they planned for it, and so the mirrors can all be adjusted individually.
And so when you want to look at a different point in space, there is some kind of a master control that turns each of the telescopes the requisite way.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't turn the mirror. It turns the whole structure.
Oh.
So once they have all 18 mirror segments focused, they probably never touch them again.
Okay. Now, by structure, you mean the device holding the mirror or the building in which it's situated?
Well, James Webb is a space telescope.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know if it pivots. So the telescope sits on top, or pointing away from the sun, and then there's 5 layers of insulation, so the telescope keeps cool, and then all the instrumentation. And again, there we go. all the instrumentation is on the back side of the shields, so that it points toward the sun and therefore toward Earth, so it can get the data to us. So the first couple of weeks that she was in space, we're all just cooling down and getting as close to absolute zero as they can, because any temperature means vibration. So temperature is basically a measure of how much the molecules are vibrating.
Right.
And if there's any vibration at all, you're going to have a fuzzy image. So
Okay, Steve, I think we've kind of gone off topic and down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
That's my
Sorry
fault.
about that.
So next up is the Roman telescope, which was being built by RF Communications here in Rochester. So that's going to launch in a couple of years. It has a Hubble-sized mirror, but it's more for taking wide-angle shots, where Webb is for taking narrow-field close-up shots. So they're hoping to find more dark energy in exoplanets. It was kind of neat that they were building it here in Rochester.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions, or should we take our break and then come back with new
One
Apple
quick one.
products?
Just it's kind of mundane, but YouTube subscriptions, YouTube Premium. I don't really know. It sounds like you have to pay for them, but do you? And what should I be looking at? What's the real difference between the premium subscription and just regular old YouTube?
The main difference is ads. YouTube Premium is theoretically ad-free. And it's $14 a month. So they have a light version for $8 a month to remove ads from music videos, but not from longer videos.
Are there any videos you just cannot watch unless you have the paid version?
Not that I know.
Okay.
There are some that are annoying. I want to watch a 2-minute video, so there's a 3-minute commercial in front of it.
Right.
That sometimes you can't skip past the ads on YouTube videos. They do have a family plan option, so if you're sharing it with multiple family members, it can work out cheaper per person. But some people just can't stand ads at all, and they're willing to pay extra for it. What's really annoying are the services where you pay for a subscription fee, and then they still show you ads, just not as many.
Mm-hmm.
They do have a trial plan to get you hooked, so then you start paying for it.
I have taken to watching some movies on Tubi, Tubi,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
and you cannot skip their ads. They have a little
Yeah.
circle, a tiny thing that shows you. So I just hit the M key for mute
Yeah.
and wait till that's over. But the interesting thing about them is that my impression is that whereas when they used to show a movie, let's say it's an hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that, on television, the commercial breaks would get longer and longer as the movie progressed, on the theory that you had invested so much time in it that you'd be willing to put up with even more ads just to find out how it ends.
Yeah,
And
I've heard that.
it seems like Tubi is actually the other way around. The ads are longer in the beginning and then they continue later, but they're not as long. So
Yeah,
they got a large time.
I recently found a reality show from 2009 called Ice Pilots, and it's a freight company in Yellowknife, Canada, and they fly DC-3s and DC-4s and C-46s. Two of their C-46s were down. No, so there's a DC-4 in that picture. Two of the C-46s were down, so he brought out the Lockheed Electra. So this Buffalo Joe loves these, 70 and 80-year-old airplanes from the 30s and 40s.
Huh.
Because somebody turned me on to a TV show called Arctic Air, which is a drama based on the Buffalo Airways out of Yellowknife. And since it's made in Canada, half the people there we know from other Canadian TV shows.
Oh yeah, yeah. Familiar faces.
Carmen Moore was the police chief in Flash. Adam Beach has been in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Alexa Doig and Saul from Galactica. Why won't it tell me? Here we go. Full cast and crew. Directors, writers. There we go. Cast and crew. Timothy Weber's been in everything. Alexa Doig. Brian Markinson always plays a bad guy, so he's the jackass. Mike Dupad was in a recent one as a boxer. Michael Hogan, that's who it is, from Galactica. Candy McClure from Galactica. Canadian shows all have the same players in them. In fact, for the longest time, it was what was his name from Forever Night. And I asked a couple of Canadian actors who we were at a convention in Toronto if there was a Canadian law about why can't I think of his name? He had to be in every TV show, and the answer was yes.
Yeah, you had to have a certain number of Canadian actors.
Well, a certain number of Canadians, but this
Yeah.
one guy showed up in everything. And I can't think of his name. Maybe it's K-N-I-G-H-T? Yeah, Grant Wynn Davies. Which is it's about a vampire who's trying to make up for being evil by becoming a cop, but he can only work the night shift. Nigel Bennett. He was in everything. How many credits did he have? 182 credits. Looks like he hasn't done anything since 21. He's probably getting old. So many people are getting old, you know, including us.
As long as I keep doing it.
Yeah. We're all time traveling at one minute per minute. Alrighty, why don't we take about a 10-minute break, you think, Shirley?
Sounds good. Come back, reconvene. Go on to Apple.
Alrighty, let me share this page. Ta-da! Alright, we'll be back.
just on the whole notion of a simulation, which is that if you extrapolate into the future and say, well, how good, let's say, will video games be 100 or 200 or 1,000 years from now? If there's continued improvement and you're in a full body haptic suit with a sort of surround vision and it becomes, beyond a certain resolution, indistinguishable from reality. And there are likely to be millions, maybe billions of such simulations. So then, what are the odds that we're actually in base reality?
That's old. fire things back up shortly. Everyone muted their mics and walked away.
Steve, it's good to hear you on the MacBook. Okay, I hear you again on the YouTube feed. It's still not very loud, but you can't, there's only so much you can do. I don't know. But anyway, I'm here.
It's weird. It's peeking into the red here.
Well, I don't know.
Well,
Yeah, the YouTube is not as loud as it has been in previous meetings. I don't know.
if I go down to negative decibels, does that mean it goes louder? Softer?
And again, participants' voices are audible, but just fine. But your voice is not very loud at all.
Right. I just set it to negative 4 decibels, and I think it went down. Let me go positive 4. I would guess that positive would be higher. Positive 4, okay. Close. Positive 4? I don't know. It seems about the same to me on my VU meter. Oh, that might have... There we go. So the system sound cut itself down again. Is there a way I can turn off that whatever this auto leveling is?
Now, I noticed on YouTube that we could hear Steve's breathing quite a bit during the break.
Really?
Yeah.
I had my mic turned off.
Well, it was coming through loud and strong. Do you have 2 mics, maybe?
No. Weird.
Hmm. Do you have a built-in mic on your computer?
Yeah, but everything is set to the headset mic.
Hmm.
I'm trying to understand the concept of negative volume. If you've got negative decibels, doesn't that mean negative volume? And what is that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, it has to do with when you're above 0.
So what is 0?
If it's a meter and you're looking at it, the numbers are higher and more positive the quieter you are, somewhat. Well, that isn't right either, is it? I guess it depends what you're looking at, but it's using the old VU meters, that would go back and forth. And I was just going to say, if it gets up to 0, that's like the farthest you can go without distortion. And then beyond that, well, you can, turn it up more, but it starts hitting the negative values.
So the negative values don't really mean less than 0 in the sense that 0 is set to be an arbitrary point.
Yeah.
As you say, when distortion's not going to happen above that.
So according to this chart, 0 is the softest sound you can hear.
Yeah, that's not a meter. That's in decibels.
So I've got a VU meter, and now it's pegging red all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I have an adjustment property in decibels. But I also have an option to do percent. So right now it's 158%. What does that mean?
I guess 0 is a synonym for baseline.
Yeah, it's like I always thought of it like star magnitudes. That what is the magnitude of 0 is the brightest you can see, and if it gets brighter than that, it goes negative. If it's darker than that, it goes positive, or the other way around.
Try seeing if you can find an image of an audio meter. Go into like DuckDuckGo, go into images, and then search for it.
How to calculate decibels. Which, all right, this tab I need to be in. So a decibel is really the amount of power generated by the wave.
That's right.
It's not amplitude.
Well, the amplitude of the wave gives you the volume of the wave. All right, let me share this window. Yeah, so this says 0 decibels is as low as you can hear.
That's true.
So how can my microphone be set to negative 2.6 decibels? Sound pressure versus sound volume. So what are negative decibels? And how much is a bell that we have to do everything in decibels?
It's power of 10, I believe.
Yeah. So my reference point 0 might be different than your reference point 0, because you may have better hearing than me, and it's a logarithmic scale.
And it seems there should be a set standard, and it's not relative to who the listener is.
Yeah. There we go. Audio system 0 is where it distorts. So you want to go less than 0 to be quieter than distortion. But what if I want it to be louder? Yeah. I want it to be louder but not have distortion. And the answer is apparently you can't. Because 0 is no distortion.
Can you scroll back up or down where it was talking about negative decibels? Yeah, someplace in there.
Or was it another?
No, you just had it.
Okay.
It was a heading.
Yeah.
Right in the middle.
So, versus your 0 reference.
Yeah, it's just like Rick was saying. Distortion is the baseline.
And if I click that link, it should. Well, it's taking me to a video.
It's not negative volume. It's just below that point. The volume is just called negative. Very interesting. I understand the bell was such a big unit that it was just simpler to get the gradations by using the decibel. And bell turns out to be named after Alexander Graham Bell.
Oh, you found something, Rick?
Yeah, try that link and see if it gives you an image.
Copy. And paste. You're not going to Rickroll me, are you? Yeah, so 0 is just at the red point. And so, yeah, negative, whoops,
In one of those descriptions, use the word reference.
Yeah. If we go
Yeah.
into the Wikipedia page that came from, yeah, below 0 is negative and above 0 is positive, and you get distortion. Oh, excuse me. Oh, defined by a 1940 paper. So we've been using these values for 125 years now? No. Minus 15.
85.
Yep.
All right, do you want to restart?
Yeah. So Apple had a no, that's not what I want. I lost my Apple link. Apple had an announcement this week. If you didn't realize. Share tab. Their tagline was awe-dropping. So I don't know if anyone was awed or they dropped their awe. But I want to play a video, a short 2.5 minute video to recap, and then we'll talk about some of the specifics. Let me know if you're not hearing the audio.
I've got it all here.
Did you catch that audio?
Yes.
No? Okay, so it is passing the audio.
Good morning. Here's what's up with iPhone, AirPods, and Apple Watch. Oh, hey, Orange. So this is iPhone 17 Pro. This thing is built for, like how wild, fun, and messy life gets. I mean, look at it. The front screen is ridiculously scratch resistant. The cameras on the back have a lot of megapixels, and you can zoom in up to 8x. Yes, battery life. The Pro phone does not play. And you can go hard because there's a vapor chamber inside. What? That cools the super fast A19 Pro chip. Yeah, that's iPhone Air. It's thin, light, made with titanium, and has the power and guts of a Pro. Quick question. Are we team landscape or portrait selfies? Doesn't matter, because the front camera automatically fits all your friends in the picture. Get in there without having to rotate your phone. Cute. The rear camera's a beast. It's like having 4 lenses in one. No, that's not FaceTime. She's recording the winning shot and her reaction to it at the same time. Wait, did that guy travel? Oh, iPhone 17 in 5 colors. With a brighter screen, those automatic selfies, and whoa! And it has an all-day battery with clutch fast charging. AirPods, AirPods, AirPods! With better fit, better sound, and better silence. Plus, there's a tiny sensor that tracks your heart rate during workouts. And there's a new lineup for Apple Watch, SE3 with Sleep Score to help you track and improve your sleep quality. Ultra 3 adds satellite communications for peace of mind wherever you roam. And Series 11, this is life-changing, can detect signs of chronic high blood pressure and notify you. Good things coming this fall. Told ya.
And then
What do they mean by liquid glass? Glass at a high temperature is liquid, but when they use it on the phone, what is liquid glass?
That is their name for the look of the new phones.
It's an effect, basically.
Well, it's a transparency.
Yeah.
Okay.
There it is, liquid glass. Well, that's a 4-minute. That's probably too much. This is how they're doing it. Give me the thing of what it looks like. A lot of people didn't like the look of it. It's basically it's a transparent look. And your buttons get out of the way when you're not using them, which is great because then you can see the rest of the image. But there's been a lot of complaints about it, and through the developer betas, the transparency effect has gotten less and less. So we kind of guess that the overall effect of the liquid glass is going to be not as much as it was before. And it can be highlighted and colored any other color because it's basically transparent. So you can choose what color you want everything to be. Well, I don't like the transparent look, but is that because
I don't either.
we're not used to the transparent look? If it started out as transparent and then added a background, would we like it more? So we'll have to see. One of the funny things that happened in the beginning, let me go back here. Is it on this? Yeah. In the YouTube thumbnail, the liquid glass was on one line instead of two lines, and the YouTube logo covered the D, the G, and the L, so it said liquid ass, and that got a lot of people humorous. So basically, we have iPhone 17, but there's 4 different models. There's the 17, the 17 Pro, the 17 Pro Max, and the iPhone Air, which is not called 17. It's just iPhone Air, which is, I think, a little annoying. And let's go to explore the phones. And as typical, they kept the 16 in the product line at a I think they dropped the price $100, and the 15 is now gone. But what annoyed a lot of people is that the 17 is now $599. I'm sorry, $799. So if you want the cheaper phone, you go to last year's 16. And then there's the iPhone Air. They don't call it the 17 Air. Is $999. So that takes over where the iPod Pro used to start. And now the iPhone Pro starts at $1099. And in essence, it's about a $100 price increase on the phones. And we think a lot of that is because of the tariffs, both on manufacturing and on parts. But if we go to, nope, go to the compare button is what I want, compare. And so we have some new colors. There's a lavender back again. Shirley's iPhone 11, I think, was the last one that had lavender.
Should we be seeing this?
It spawned a new tab again. Yeah, all right. Shift that tab. There we are. Thank you for keeping an eye on those little windows that I can't see. So we have lavender, sage, mist blue, and then white and black. And in the Air, we've got sky blue, so that's a lighter blue than the mist blue. Liquid gold, or light gold. Cloud white, which is a little different than white. And then space black, which is a little darker than regular black. But the big new color now is orange in the Pro Max. So Tyler at work was annoyed because he's a big Syracuse Orange fan. He's got an orange Jeep. He's going to have to buy an orange phone, even though he doesn't need the Pro Max, but he has to have an orange phone. So if we compare that, let me go back to what the 16 was. So the screen sizes are a little bigger than the previous generation, and I did that by making the bezels a little bit smaller. So the actual image size is bigger. They have the new Ceramic Shield 2, which I'm pretty sure is Corning, so that it's more scratch resistant. What's interesting, and the way they're positioning it at a higher price, so let me do it this way, 16, 17, and then Air. So the 16 used the 18 chip, which is all confusing now. The 17 uses the 19 chip, and the Air uses the 19 Pro chip. We almost wondered if Apple was going to change their phones, so this would be iPhone 26 for the major model year it was released, like they're changing all their OSs to be version 26. So in the 17 and the Air, you have more neural processors, more battery life. The 18 megapixel camera will, as the picture showed, will auto rotate for you. So if you have more people in the photo, it will automatically rotate the image and show you all of the people that are in the image. I don't know what ultra stabilized means. If it's either stabilized or it's not stabilized, but that's there. 48 megapixel camera for all three cameras. On the 16, it only was for the rear camera. What was the other big issue? Apple Intelligence is there. USB-C. Yeah, faster quick charging. If you use a quick charger, you can get up to 50% in 20 minutes. And so where they used to be, the 128 was $699. They discontinued the 128, and now the 17 starts at $799. But so it's $100 more, but it's the 256 model that used to be the $100 more. So the entry point on the 17 has gone up in price. And the iPhone Air has a 1 terabyte version. The other big issue was 120 hertz, always on display, versus the 16. And so there was a comment about Android phones have had 120 hertz for a long time. So now that Apple added it, what are Android people going to complain about? The iPhone? They'll find something else to complain about. Let's see. Brightness is the same. Peak brightness is more than the 16. So one nice thing about this comparison page is you can go back and pick your phone and see how much better the new phone is than yours. And if you don't, you can save a little money by going to the lower, last year's phone. Some people will stay 2 or 3 years behind and never upgrade. Upgrade, so they're always 2 or 3 years behind, so they can save money but still get a newer phone. So it is 2 millimeters bigger, but it's the same width, and what is that? 0.15 millimeters deeper. But you're getting the 6.3 inch versus the 6.1. So you're getting a bigger screen, but it's barely any bigger. The big thing with the iPhone Air is it's only 5 millimeters deep, so it's a lot thinner than the rest of them, unless you count the big camera bump. They've already been talking about that. It's the thinnest iPhone except for the camera bump. Let's see, we went through that. Video conferencing is about the same on all of them. So better cameras, a longer battery life, quick charging. Yeah, 50% charge in 20 minutes with a 40-watt adapter, which is interesting because the original iPhone came with a 5-watt adapter. So they've started bunching it up that much. So I have a 12 Pro Max. So let's compare that against the 17 Pro and 17 Pro Max. The biggest difference is the Pro has 3 cameras versus the non-Pro's 2 and the Air's 1. So if you like photography, that could be an incentive to get the Pro. And again, the Pro is the only one available in the custom orange. But then you're starting at $10.99. Or conveniently, Apple does 0% financing. So it's $45 a month for a Pro, but only $50 a month for the Pro Max. It's only $5 more a month. I'll get the Pro Max at 0% financing for 24 months. But you often can get better deals by looking at your carrier. I was just seeing at a customer last week, they were giving free iPhone 16 Pros with a contract. So if your contract is up, most people aren't on contracts anymore, you can get a free phone. And so compared to my phone, the new phone, significantly better display, much faster processor, much longer battery life, much better cameras. They talked about the new 8x zoom. So there's an 8x optical zoom. That's one reason the camera bumps are so much bigger. The other reason is they called it a periscope when it was first out. Normally you think about how wide the camera is, like I showed you my camera earlier. The longer the lens, the higher your zoom. But you have the whole length of the phone. So if the sensor's at the bottom of the phone, and then there's a lens at the top of the phone, there you've got, say 5-inch optical, and then you do a 90-degree prism to get out forward. So that's one way they're doing the higher zooms. So you can get an 8x optical zoom on the Pro models. Pretty much everything else is the same it used to be. New for the iPhone Pro Max is a 2 terabyte model for only $2,000. So we're thinking Apple is testing the waters. How much will people pay for a phone? Will they pay $2,000 for a phone? Because next year the rumor is a folding iPhone is going to come out, which will probably start at $2,000, which is what the Samsung and Motorola folding phones start at now. So we always like maxing out the maximum phone. So we got to get the Pro Max, we got to get the orange, we got to get the 2 terabytes. So, you start it at $50 a month, 60 for the 512, 70 for the 1 terabyte, only 80 for the 2 terabyte. And so we're looking at $19.99 for the maximum phone. So if you have a 16 or even a 15, you're probably not going to want to upgrade. But if you have something older than that, it's probably a good idea to upgrade, especially if you like taking pictures, because the cameras are so much better. The optical zooms are so much better than they used to be. And depending on how old your old phone is, you can trade it in. You can either do the Apple trade-in, a carrier trade-in, or third-party trade-in like Gazelle or Sell Your Mac. Although we sometimes see if you sell it yourself on Craigslist or something, you can sometimes get more. And so you're going to start seeing the new commercials for all the new phones. It's even more magic. I don't know. So here's that liquid glass with the transparent look on it. And one of the features in iOS 26 is it will rearrange your lock screen. So it put the clock above the figure in the picture, and it's doing your notifications below the figure. So it will auto rearrange your lock screen to fit whatever picture you put on it, which is kind of neat.
There's an issue similar to that on Facebook when I'm looking at somebody's posts and they have a caption underneath it in portrait format, but when I rotate it 90 degrees to get a bigger image, the text takes over half the photograph. And I don't like that. I'd still like to have that text somehow squelched.
There may be a full screen button that usually looks like a broken square that puts the image into full screen, so you don't see all the rest of the text around it. You see just the image.
Now, I've got an iPhone 8, so I'm not sure that I've got that feature.
Yeah, I don't know when they added it. Or full screen's been there a long time. It may be a Facebook feature, not a phone feature.
Okay. I like the concept of rearranging where the text is.
Yep. And of course, I've got new cases. They new color matched AirTag keychain rings. one of the things they added now is a crossbody strap. So you can, this was very common. We've got 3 or 4 different brands at the office with cases with these crossbody straps. That's a common way to hold your phone these days. And again, in multiple colors. I'm always afraid of hitting my phone on something. I used to have a belt clip for my phone, and I'd constantly be catching it on door frames. So I started putting it in my pocket now. So pre-orders available now. Pick up. Oh, it started Friday. So yeah. So you can if you order a basic unit, you can get it on Friday, or pick up at the store on Monday. For that, let's go back and see what it said for the phone. No trade-in. We're gonna buy it outright, unlocked, and where is the how long will it take button? Unavailable for pickup. Oh, okay. The phones you can't start ordering until this Friday, and they'll be available next Friday. So if you want one in the first production batch, you better order it first thing Friday morning. Nope. Yeah, 5 a.m. Pacific on Friday. So we get to sleep in on the East Coast and start at 9. And so there's kind of the lineup. The 16E starts at $599, the 17 at $799, the Air at $999, and the Pro at $1099. So they have a phone in almost any price range, as long as it's $599 or more. What did it have next? Nope. Yeah. So then the next thing announced was the Apple Watch. So the new Apple Watch Series 11, the SE3, and the Ultra 3, starting at $249 for the SE3. And did they keep? No, they didn't keep the old one. The Apple Watch Nike, I think, is like a version 2 or even a version 1, because it has extra stuff that Nike put into it. So you could find an older watch online. Let's see. Let's go to compare. Compare. There we are. So let's go. I want to start with the 3, the 11, and then the Ultra. Okay. So again, different colors available in each model. Series 3 starts at $249. The 11 at $399, and the Ultra at $799. So between the phone and the watch, you could pay like $5,000. They're the 11 is a little bigger than the 3, 44 or 40, 46 or 42. Higher brightness than previous models. On the 11 and the Ultra, they mentioned the hypertension notification and the ECG app, so that you can can monitor your heart rhythm and your blood pressure over time to see if it notices any irregular patterns. Not to be used as a diagnosis, but to inform your doctor that there might be something. There have been a lot of cases. In fact, they showed a video of one during the event where someone he was doing a run and he felt a little weird, and his watch popped up and says, "You might be having a heart problem. Go to the hospital now." And it saved his life. Sleep tracking, apnea tracking. They have now added emergency satellite. That's down here somewhere. into the watch. So in addition to, in the Ultra watch has satellite. The regular phones all have emergency satellite. So if you're out lost in the woods outside of cell tower range, you can send a text message through satellite. So far at no cost. Apple's been absorbing that cost. They keep saying no cost for 2 years, and then 2 years goes by, and Apple says, "Oh, okay, no cost for 2 more years." There was a crazy story about someone was lost in the woods, and he wouldn't answer his phone when the rescuers were calling to help find out where he was because he didn't recognize the number. We're so programmed to ignore numbers we don't recognize, thinking they're junk.
Wow. Yep.
Interestingly enough, they all use the same chip. So the differences in the watches are based on other aspects of the watch itself. So it's like the Ultra is physically bigger, so it gets much more battery life. Aluminum, GPS. Let's see. That's all the S10, all the sensors. So if we go back and look at the Apple Watch 10 versus the 11, same size, same brightness. So they're adding hypertension to the 10. So it's using sensors it already has. So that's one of the reasons to keep your OS up to date, is sometimes they add features in that they've been working on that uses existing sensors. So and so again, if you already have a 10 or maybe even a 9, yep, they added hypertension to Series 9. It may not be worthwhile to upgrade. I think I have a Series 5, which is not on my wrist. I gotta find where I left it. Nope, SE. SE. So the previous SE2 versus the SE3. Let's go back up to the top here. SE3 is got a bigger screen, much brighter than the SE2. The hypertension and ECG apps, apnea notification. So if you have an SE2, the SE3 upgrade it adds quite a few features. I'm sorry, that's Ultra 3, SE3. There we go. Let's go back here. All right, same size, same brightness, same sensors. All right, ignore everything I said. SE2 to SE3 isn't much of an upgrade. S8 versus S10. Fast charging. But if you have an SE1, so the special edition watches were always designed to be lower cost with fewer features than the full Apple Watch. So that's still true, but SE3 versus SE3 versus 11, you're still getting better specs with the full watch series. And then finally they came out with AirPods Pro 3, starting at $249. And one of the okay, well, let's start here. 3-dimensional audio. So if you listen to a spatial audio recording, it shows you that. You can hear audio surrounding you, like it's coming from on top and behind, even though you have only 2 earbuds in. Go back.
But there's no 3-dimensional visual.
That's in the Apple Vision.
How does that work?
Same kind of way. It tricks your eye into seeing 3 dimensions by having 2 different screens.
Alternating images?
A little bit, yeah. Really, really fast.
Yeah.
There is a heart rate monitor in the earbud, so it can, if you're not wearing your watch, for example. Some people sweat too much, so I took mine off. I was sweating too much, and go back. I'm not done yet. And so I took my watch off. But you can use your earbuds to track your heart rate. Better fit, better acoustic performance. And the marquee feature is live translations. So you can hear a language, or someone can be speaking a language and you hear it in English. And you can speak a language and your phone will translate it so you can show them their language. So it's almost a Babelfish from Hitchhiker, if you're familiar with that. And it works across a bunch of different languages. We'll get into some more detail on that later. And the hearing aid capability has been enhanced as well. So if you don't need full professional medical hearing aids that can cost several $1,000s each, the AirPod can do hearing aid. And 8 hours of listening with active noise cancellation on a single charge. So all day on a single charge. One of the tricks we used to do with the two AirPods is you put one AirPod in to listen while you were charging the other one, and then you take the other one out and listen to it while it charges the first one, and you could alternate back and forth for like 20 hours of playtime. But it would only work in mono, so it only worked for like phone calls or listening to mono music. So let's go to the marquee. Best thing we've never heard, yeah. Active noise cancellation is even better than before. And that depends on how well you get it fit into your ears. So they come with different tips to help you fit it better. So there's a microphone on the outside that listens to outside noise. And you get 5 ear tips. You usually only get 3. And so it can cancel that active noise. There is something called transparency mode, and they've increased it now to conversational awareness. So when you're talking to somebody, it will automatically dim the audio, or not dim, decrease the audio of like the music or podcast you're listening to, and allow the outside speaker to come through. And if there's a siren going by, you're not supposed to wear earphones in your car anyway. But if there's a siren going by, then it will let that siren go through.
I always cover my ears for sirens.
Yeah. The heart sensor. I want to get down to the translation, which is the cool thing. Yeah, here it is. I thought they had a video for this. Can do searing. Automatically connects. That there might be a second video for that. Let's see. Live translations works on AirPods 4 with active noise cancellations, AirPods Pro 2 and later. So running iOS 26 on your older devices will allow that function to work. They had a nice video of live translation on another page. Let's see if I can find it. AirPods live translation.
Will these pods function with the induction loop that theaters use?
I don't know.
The theater will provide earphones, but it would be nice if you could use these. Certainly better fidelity.
Of According to Google AI, AirPods Pro 2 and later. No, that's hearing aid. That's not what I want. I want induction loop. Let's see. My guess is no, because it didn't find it.
Well, that's probably the installation is probably a proprietary system, which is not only the loop but also the earpieces, and it would be nice if that could be tapped.
Yep. Let's see. Yeah. So I don't know if how accurate this is, but you can buy a box to allow your phone to access the induction loop.
Ah.
Cookies. And it's out of stock. So you could buy a box that supported induction loop. Alright, let's go back to this tab. I guess it was just in the keynote. Although let's try in Apple. Oh, here you can see the profile shot of the iPad Air. I'm sorry, iPhone Air, and how thin it is, but how big the camera bump is. Yeah, AirPods Pro 3. 15-second video.
Speak the same language.
Let's go back. And that's getting played.
This is a FaceTime between two people who don't speak the same language.
Ajoute une pincée de vanille et de l'eau de fleur d'oranger à la pâte. C'est ça mon secret.
And that's live translation by Apple Intelligence.
So it's in the phone, and now they've added it to the AirPods Pro. Let's see. Voice translation. We're back to the dancing silhouette people. Remember that from the very first iPod commercials. Really, that's all it says? All right. Yeah, in the full Apple event video is a better. Oh, good. There's captions here. Will it tell us? AirPods Pro. So if we scrub through, can we get to the live translate feature? Was that it at the cafe? Yeah.
For you. When you need to talk, just speak naturally.
I'd love to take some of these to my sister for her birthday. I'll buy 8, please.
Your iPhone displays your words in their language and can even read them out loud if needed.
Vale.
Live translation is even more useful when both people are wearing AirPods Pro.
I agree, yeah. Let's include the
Eu concordo, sim. Vamos incluir as principais descobertas na apresentação de sexta-feira.
Com certeza. O cliente vai adorar ver isso.
Definitely. The client will love that. I'll let the strategy team know to prepare that immediately.
This incredible capability is enabled by advanced computational audio on AirPods, combined with Apple Intelligence models running on iPhone.
So that basically is the Babelfish, if you both have AirPods Pro in. you don't even have to have your phone.
That would be a great enhancement for dating apps.
Yeah. Yep. So you hear when they're swearing at you in their own language.
Well, you meet a foreign person, you want to have a conversation. This is a good way to do it.
Yep. All right, let's see. AirPods Pro.
Just to clarify something for me, does this, a moment ago, it sounded like this was all, God, I wish I could talk, that the AirPods themselves could do all the work in this, but my impression is that the AirPods have to be working in conjunction with an iPhone that has this capability. What's the truth here?
It can work with an iPhone to display the translated text, but the text specs here. The video showed two people, both with AirPods, just talking back and forth.
So, am I to understand that the software to do it and the databases of these other languages are all contained in the AirPods?
Right. Yeah, it's got to go through your phone. Which I guess makes sense because the AirPods are paired to a phone anyway. Let me see what phone you need.
And the listener has to have the same apparatus?
Yes, or they read the translation on your phone. Alright, system requirements. Latest version of iOS, latest version of iPadOS. I hate when they say that. Latest version. I'm guessing that means you need to have OS 26. Let me look for translate. Live translation, footnote 9. Footnote 9. So they've added it to AirPods and AirPods Pro 2 with the latest firmware running iOS 26. Supports English, French, German, Portuguese, and Spanish.
When they say running iOS 26, is that an iOS on a phone or is that an iOS on the AirPods?
iOS is for iPhones.
So it sounds like a phone needs to be involved in this, right?
Yeah. Well, the AirPods won't work unless you have an iPhone or other Bluetooth phone.
Okay.
And features. Oops, wrong button. Live translation. Translate app. So that supports more languages. So I guess the Translate app supports more languages than the live translation does.
And does this need the iPhone to be connected to internet to access those languages, or is it all stored in the iPhone?
I don't know, but I would guess it's stored in the iPhone because they
Holy
don't.
smokes.
Well, it may not all the languages. You may tell it what language you want, and then it downloads it. Because Apple's big on doing everything on device.
Still a vast vocabulary.
Yeah.
Exactly. And another thing my twisted mind is doing is that I notice that when I'm watching YouTube videos, they will blank out not only bad words, but even words that sound like bad words. So I'm wondering whether this whole translation thing will do the same thing. If you say something that sounds like it, similar to a bad word, will it just drop it?
Well, that would be whoever created the captions for the YouTube video you're watching.
They probably charge extra so that you don't have it filtered out, just like you could pay extra to have ads filtered out.
Yeah, well, I'm watching only free stuff here, and the other thing, as far as YouTube closed captioning is concerned, is that I have the impression that it happens at least two different ways. One, so to speak, the Google or YouTube is listening to the dialogue in the film, let's say, and the other is that it has somehow been fed the script from the film. And the reason I wonder about that is because usually, or I guess most of the time, the captioning shows up after the people in the film speak, but sometimes it shows up quite a bit before they ever say what the captioning shows.
Yeah, and you're right. It does happen both ways. If there's no caption file added, then the YouTube AI recognizes the speech and tries to add, and then tries to convert it to text. There have been some interesting times I've seen where the spoken text doesn't match the captions, and we're guessing that's because the script changed when it was actually filmed. So the captions came from the script and the video came from the film.
Okay.
And you'd think with a film that they would have it in front of them and they could be accurate, including spelling names correctly, but they don't.
Well, it depends on the production value and production cost and how much they want to bother with that. But sometimes it is the only way to see how, especially in science fiction, it's the only way to see how those words are spelled and how somebody pronounces them. There was a great video of Tolkien pronouncing the names in Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, and some of them weren't pronounced the way you would guess by the way he decided to spell them.
Well, he created the language, so whatever he says would be definitive.
Yep. So what we do, and Charlie, to your question, there's actually another place. During a live video like this, if you turn captions on, it's a live caption on the fly. And after the fact, when the video stream finishes, it goes through in more detail and more time and generates captions theoretically better because it doesn't have to do them on the fly in real time. If you say an unusual word, it has more time to figure out what you meant.
Okay, so that would be in the transcript with the final version of the video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's interesting to go through the live feed and the after-the-fact video feed and see if there's any differences. So like, you got me thinking, and I started the captioning on my iPad to see what it's saying.
Yeah, and I think it's Carol Reno who remarked that the captioning in the Google Meet app or whatever is surprisingly good and accurate. I'm watching it too.
Yep. And if your video content doesn't have captionings at all, then you can turn on the Apple live captioning, where it tries to add captions based on what it's hearing. We showed that off a few meetings ago.
You go find that in settings, was that it?
Yeah, I'm looking now to remember.
And would that be in like Safari only or Chrome, or in other words, is it Apple's system OS or is it a Safari?
Yeah, it's a system-wide, so it should work on any app.
No.
Let's go back to here. Which one is it? This one? Yeah. Apple Live Captions. Along with captions, alt tags. When you're creating a website, if you load a picture, someone who's visually impaired doesn't see the picture. Their screen reader just says picture. So you want to do something called an alt tag. So on the picture, it basically is like giving captions to a picture. So you can either name it or you can describe it in the alt tag. So screen readers will be able to read it. Yeah. So iPhone 11 or later, and Mac computers with Apple Silicon or iPads with an A12 or later. So it looks like Intel Macs are left out. Aw. So now that more and more places are adding captions themselves, the need for Apple Live captions are a little lower. But if you're doing a FaceTime call, then having those captions to turn on is handy. All right, and so let's turn that
How is the
off.
development coming of the glasses like Google uses, but Apple tried and pulled back, and they're trying to get them because everything that you're saying about the Apple Watch could nicely be on glasses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're also doing Vision OS for the Apple Vision. There was an expected refresh. So right now the Apple Vision uses the M2 chip. There's an expectation that it's going to come out with an M5. So that may be later this fall with the iPad M5. And if they release the MacBook Pro M5s this fall or maybe next spring. There's a lot of rumors. No one knows for sure, and in fact, Apple just sued a guy publishing a rumor claiming that he paid he paid someone to break into his roommate's development iPhone and steal proprietary images of OS 26. And so they have to see how that ends up in court. But Apple's very tight-lipped about what's coming. But one of the theories is we're going to see an Apple Vision that's not the Apple Vision Pro, so it may not have the front screen to show your eyes, because those are crazy anyway. You know, all that money putting a front screen on that just shows your eyes to whoever's looking at you. You can put googly eyes on it yourself if you want. And trying to cut down on the weight and the cost, they might come with, and so the Apple Vision is $3,500 now. Maybe not. Maybe Vision Pro $3,500. Maybe the Apple Vision will only be $1,500. There are a lot of expectations that they're going to be coming out with closer glasses. Facebook and Ray-Ban have put together their Meta glasses that to me they look like the old style safety glasses my dad used to wear at work, because they have bigger and thicker frames to store the battery and cameras.
And these can be done to match prescriptions?
Yes, maybe. Let me see.
Well, like I have astigmatism, and I would like to be able to have that accommodated.
Mm-hmm. So let's see. Ray-Ban and Meta and Oakley. So it turns out, was it Luxottica? There's one company that owns every single eyeglass brand. So let's see. 4 colors. Skyler versus Wayfarer. So the HSTN is obviously different, but Wayfarer versus Skyler doesn't really look that different to me. So let's see. That's when we do that. Oh, I don't know if you'll be able to see this. It's asking for my camera. Oh, it's gonna put the glasses on my face.
Cool.
I don't know if it's gonna work because the camera's already being. Here we go. So here's the cameras on my face.
Wow.
I like it.
Green, clear transition, clear. So I guess that's if you don't need glasses.
And there's probably going to be a future ability to alter the color of the frames,
Yeah.
By day to day. Just like some people change the color of their contact lenses from day to day.
So it looks like right now the Ray-Bans are sunglasses or clear only. There's no prescription options. Oh, no, yeah, you can order it you can order it with prescription lenses. So let's see. Starting at $400. Choose a frame, add your prescription, configure your lens. So if you know your prescription, you can get in the range of -6 to +4.
And this is manufactured by Luxottica?
Well, by Ray-Ban, which is, my guess, is owned by Luxottica, because everybody is.
I think they bought it from Bausch & Lomb.
Let's see. Who owns Ray-Ban?
Well, the other thing there is that
Luxottica.
they were talking about prescriptions in terms of diopters, but I don't know about astigmatism.
Good point. If you know your SPH and CYL values.
Oh, okay. I have tried to understand astigmatism, and I never have. I have some apparently, but
Well, if I see a small 6 or a small 8, I can often not distinguish.
yeah.
Oh, and you can get them in clear, blue light filter, sunglasses, or transitions, just like regular glasses. Ooh, you can get the Ray-Ban logo on them so people know they're Ray-Ban. And so you can see where the camera is on the one lens.
Bausch & Lomb used to have a feature on their lenses that you exhale on there, and it condenses around the Bausch & Lomb name. Or you could have your own name put on there, so that if you ever lost your glasses, somebody could just breathe heavily on them and find out whose glasses they belong to.
Yep. So probably the lenses themselves may come from another company.
Liquid glass.
Yeah.
Steve, I just want to say that when you first put the dark, like sunglass type things on your face, you look like a good candidate for a motorcycle gang.
Yeah. No, so Ray-Ban says they make their own lenses.
Okay.
But the Ray-Ban company is owned by Luxottica. So maybe Bausch & Lomb did the research.
Well, they sold it when they were hurting for dollars.
Yeah.
Just like Kodak sold its patents, which is haunting them now. Well, once these glasses get further developed, it would be logical that AirPads could be incorporated into the earpads could be incorporated into them, into the frames.
Yeah, right now the Apple Vision does not have speakers. So that would be a little weird. You put the thing on your face and then stick the other things in your ears. So it's designed to use with your AirPods.
Mm-hmm.
So Bausch & Lomb is their own brand. Who owns Bausch & Lomb? Bausch Health, parent company.
Oh, it's New Jersey. It starts with a V.
And Valiant Pharmaceuticals. In May of 2013. Wow, didn't know it was that long ago.
And when that transaction took place, the New Jersey company took the pieces of the Berlin Wall that were in the Bausch & Lomb Winter Garden and just took them away.
Oh.
So, Steve, on this new iPhone, they were talking about the water cooling. Since when does water mix well with electronics?
It's not water. It's Was it a vacuum changer chamber? Let's go to, I don't know which one it was on, but let's go to tech specs.
I was talking about vapor being inside.
Yeah, vapor. I mean, how about just Google?
Oh, so it's not water. Okay.
It's for vaping.
Yeah. Yeah, vapor chamber. What the heck is a vapor chamber? All right, Mashable, tell us what a vapor chamber is. It's a modern thermal management chamber. So kind of like a thermos has a vacuum between the inner side and the outer side. This uses a vapor between the inner frame and the outer frame to manage heat in the unibody design, so you don't get so much heat on the outside of the phone. It's like how you can't call laptops anymore.
All right. Deionized water.
Yep. Deionized
yes,
water.
It is water.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Deionized, aka distilled, right? Or even more than distilled.
So it's in the vacuum between the outer chamber and the inner chamber. So
Well, water's not really a molecule. It's just a bunch of ions. So how do you deionize that?
Well, I'm not sure about that.
It's H2O.
Yeah, but it's just a bunch of ions in that ratio.
I'm not sure about that, Douglas.
Well, they work together. Yeah, I've read this.
Well, I can't say that's not right, but it just doesn't strike me right. The one thing about water is that, we call it H2O, but apparently in a lot of cases it's actually aggregates of those molecules. So
that's right.
HOH.
That's right. It's counterintuitive.
It's instead of H2O, it's H4O2 or but not as single molecules. It's molecules that are kind of attached to each other and probably let go and join other molecules and the rest of it. All I can tell you is that deionized water certainly exists because, we used it in the lab.
Part of the new thermal management system is an Apple-designed vapor chamber. Deionized water is sealed inside the vapor chamber, which is laser welded into the aluminum chassis. This efficiently moves heat away from the components, allowing for higher sustained performance. The vapor chamber directs heat strategically through the system, where it is efficiently dissipated and released by the forged aluminum unibody. We used an Apple-designed aerospace-grade aluminum alloy for its superior thermal conductivity, which is 20 times greater than the titanium we previously used. This proprietary alloy is also significantly lighter. As a result, it was the perfect choice for achieving this new design while delivering outstanding thermal performance in a product that remains comfortable to hold and use. At the heart of the
Nice. We haven't got the service manuals yet.
So they're using this water, and it doesn't make anything corrode because they're using what?
Aluminum.
Surfaces and metals that don't corrode?
Apparently.
It sounded to me like it's in an aluminum chamber, but that chamber does not contain the rest of the guts of the phone. So in other words, it sounds...
it's isolated.
Yeah, it's
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm guessing here that heat goes from the electronic components to one surface of that chamber and then into the chamber and the water in there and then out the other surface to my hot little hand or something. So I don't know,
So as long as the chamber remains intact,
yeah,
right, it's not going to cause issues.
So if the iPhone is punctured, then
you're in trouble.
The vapor chamber could be breached. Let me go back to that video because they had a
Well, if your phone is punctured, you're going to have more trouble than just your vapor chamber.
I can't find which video it came from. Is it this one? No. Alright, history. Let's go to vapor chamber and video. There it is.
At the heart of the new thermal management system is an Apple-designed vapor chamber. Deionized water is sealed inside the vapor.
All right, so there's the vapor chamber. Is a single piece inside the phone. Looks like on the front behind the glass. Yeah, on the front behind the glass. So dropping it and breaking the glass shouldn't affect it, but if the phone is pierced, that could be a problem. And your phone is hosed anyway.
Yeah.
You need the front, you need the logic board, you might need the battery, you need the back, you know. That's it, that's new phone time. Yep. So it's not like liquid cooling on the PC where liquid actually runs through hoses around the objects.
And that's liquid helium or something, isn't it?
Not always. I was just watching someone who changed the color of her liquid cooling fluid so it lit up the computer differently.
Wow.
So she added some dye.
Oh my gosh.
This might be it. So you've got a pump and working its way through. It actually took it a while to... She drained the old color out, but you never get it all. So it took a while for the color to settle down. Now there is a non-conductive fluid, and it's really crazy watching them dunk a computer in non-conductive fluid. Yeah, liquid immersion in non-conductive fluid. So you can see where all the heat is coming off of all the components to keep it cool. But it's non-conductive, so it's okay to put your computer in it. So
It's super weird.
Yeah. Non-conductor liquid.
Now that computer must be a lot heavier because of the liquid that's in it.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not supposed to move. No free-moving ions. Yeah, to make it non-conductive. Oh, could be distilled water.
Well, if it's vapor, the vapor is not going to weigh as much as liquid.
Distilled so that there are no other components in it.
Yeah,
There's no minerals
ultra-purified
in it.
water with no ions.
Yeah.
Mineral oil, silicon oil, fluorocarbons. Oh, now that's weird too. There is a hyper-oxygenated fluorocarbon that super deep, like scuba research uses.
Yeah, they used to have the mice go in it, and they'd show that. Oh yeah, look, the mice can breathe under this stuff.
Yep, in one of the Cameron's movies, where they find the aliens underwater.
Yeah.
They actually did the mouse in the fluid was real.
Yeah.
But they didn't do it for the actor.
Yeah, which is a good thing.
The Abyss. That's the name of it.
The Abyss.
Yep. The giant tentacle. Yeah, so a highly oxygenated perfluorocarbon. All right. Well, we're devolving.
Down the rabbit hole again. Sorry about that.
Rick, it was you again.
Yeah. So, what we did not see are any iPads or any Macs. So generally, those come in the fall either an October event or a September event. And let's see, iOS release date. Let's see. So iOS 26 is going to be released on Monday, because the new phones come with iOS 26. Unless you are very adventurous, do not install it on your primary phone. Wait for the 0.1 update, or at least the 0.01 update, if not the 0.02 update. macOS 26 has not had a release date yet. The expectation, if they follow pattern, is in the October-November timeframe. When they have another event, they will announce new Macs with the new OS built in. So iOS 26 is codenamed Tahoe. So we're still going through California landmarks. You can download the public beta now for all the OSs. If you have a spare device you don't mind potentially bricking or crashing so hard you gotta erase it and start over. But one of the Jason Snell on MacBreak is saying he's been running the developer betas and hasn't had any trouble with any of them. But if I try it, my machines would die. Alrighty. Any last questions?
No,
Well,
thank you, Steve.
Yep.
I would say thank you for all hanging in here for our science experiments too. Never know what you're going to learn when you're watching Apple, right?
That's right.
That's right.
I learn something every time.
That's right.
One of the big criticisms I read about people working at Apple, especially researchers in like battery technology and this liquid, vapor chamber cooling, is Apple is so hush-hush and proprietary, no one gets to publish anything. So one of the marks of a researcher is how many articles have you published in how many magazines or scientific journals. So when you work for Apple, you can't publish anything.
Well, until after the fact.
Yeah, until it gets announced, and maybe. In fact, Apple had an AI paper recently. And yeah, there's no byline. Oh no, there was some of a byline on it. So we talked about it on Soundbites. The illusion of thinking. So AI is not artificial intelligence; it's simulated intelligence. It's an illusion of thinking. And they had an interesting buzzword they used for it instead of AI. Yeah, I'm not going to find it now. Yeah, thinking. See, we're anthropomorphizing these computers, and they hate that. So they don't think, they don't reason, they don't understand. It's large data sets that they're collating between really, really, really fast. So one of the things they did in their paper is they had an AI try to learn or try to solve the Tower of Hanoi problem, and they were very, very bad at it.
The power of what?
Tower of Hanoi game. With the three the three stacks of discs. The goal is to move the stack from one post to the other post, but you can never put a bigger disk on top of a smaller disk. So the second animation is showing you the solve for 4 disks. And AI could never figure that out. when they got above, I think, 3 discs. It got wronger and wronger and wronger the more discs they added. Where mathematically it can be easily computed, which is 2 to the nth minus 1. So when the paper came out, a lot of people started buying Tower of Hanoi sets again because they were. I had one of those when I was a kid.
Yeah.
There's some nice ones where you could store the discs inside the box. Ha! So $28 on eBay or $3 on AliExpress. Alrighty. And now that we went on another rabbit hole.
I just want to put in a plug for the rabbit holes because I can understand the idea that we may get so far off into the wild blue whatever that we lose our grip, but there's some fun stuff in those rabbit holes.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And a rabbit hole might spawn a deeper rabbit hole.
Yes.
I had a conversation with Duck AI earlier today, and we got into an argument about resistances and tolerances of resistors and that type of thing, and it gave me a huge wrong answer. And I finally let it have it and said, no, your math is wrong. You've miscalculated this and that and the other thing. And you know that at first it wouldn't admit that it made a mistake?
And what is Duck AI?
Oh, if you go to duckduck.com, duckduckgo.com, it's their little AI that helps you to answer questions.
Okay.
Privacy-minded like their browsers are.
Yes, it is, which is nice. And it's free.
All right, well, I guess it's time to say goodnight. And we will see a few of you next week at our board meeting.
Thank you, Steve, and everybody else who pitched in.
Yes, thank you.
I saw Bob Hoey popped in for a little bit, but I didn't get a chance to ask him about Saturday. But if you want to go to the Saturday SIG, give him a call and see if he's going to have it.
Okay.
Alrighty, thank you.
All right. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Shirley, I'll talk to you.
All right.
Before I see you at the board meeting.
All right. I have off starting on Friday. So I will, I'm taking next week off, so we'll talk.
Okay.
Somewhere in between there then.
All right.
All right. Good night.
Good night. How do we get out?
Close the window, or it'll close for you when I exit it.
Okay.
Good night, all.
Good night.
Good night.